I'm a little late to the party on this, but I'm not really going to comment on the situation. It's more this thing, typically from the SJW sides and the feminist sides, against my side and the content creating group that I generally fall into. If you don't know, the YouTube user Woolly Bumblebee has taken down her YouTube channel, and she said that this was in response to. She publicly said this too. So she said it was in response to one of Bearing's fans sending her a death threat. Okay. And pretty much Christy Winters and the lot of them, even though Christy Winters and Christiosity said that they would be happy to debate and discuss feminist issues with anti-feminists. I'm right here. My email is baconmanproductions@yahoo.com. We can set something up. In fact, I'm going to have an announcement about something. So anyway, they've pretty much condemned Bearing and held him responsible for it. Now, look, I'm going to go out on a limb and assume some things. And look, I got no hard feelings about Woolly Bumblebee one way or the other. I think she's a little misguided on some things, but all in all, truth be told, I have I don't have any hard feelings towards her, or I don't have any real hatred of her. She's always been, every time that we've talked, she's always been cool to me. Even though it's been only a few times. Every time we've had an interaction, she's always been cool to me. I've always been cool to her. So, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume everything she's saying is true. Okay? Somebody did email her or contacted her and threatened her kids. Okay? And let me just state for the record that when you do that, that's a step too far. Calling somebody a bitch, a cocksucker, a douchebag. And we had a private conversation that I'm not going to reveal. I will reveal one thing that I said to her, and I was like, don't sweat it too hard. Don't get upset too much, because I get death threats about once a week, and I brush them off. Some are not even written in proper English, and I get them on a range of things. I get them from feminists. I get them from vegans. I get them still on occasion from the state of Hawaii. I get them on a variety of things. I've even got them over making fun of like Myron Mixon and Steven Reichlen. So I've gotten them on, again, about once a week. Something will pop up on one of my accounts. And it's a threat, usually it involves death. If I threw in physical threats, but so, I told her, don't sweat it too hard, but everybody takes shit like that differently. So I'm going to assume that every word of her story is true. I'm just going to assume it. Even if every word of her story is true, and somebody did do, some piece of cowardly shit did do this, how the fuck is that Bearing's fault? Seriously. How is that Bearing's fault? All Bearing did was make a video showing her 180 with him. That's all he fucking did. How is he responsible? How the fuck, after posting the video, is Bearing supposed to control the actions of his fan base? And I get this shit too. Whenever I've had at least 3 instances where feminists that I've disproved have come to me and said that people are threatening, that my fan base is threatening them. And I looked at their comments, and I couldn't find any evidence. I said, well, I deleted them. I'm going, my audience is pretty laid back. It's not for nothing. And I typically get on the Reddit feminists radar, and then my video is flooded with a bunch of trolls and downvotes and mean comments and shit like that. I just don't care, because you guys are giving me the one thing I really want. I could care less about positive attention or positive comments. There's another thing that I like a lot more than that. Anyway, but even so, how the fuck is Bearing responsible for the actions of his fans? The sad fact of the matter is, he's not. Bearing made a video. End of fucking story. What anyone else does is not Bearing's responsibility. And I find it extremely scary that now there's a movement, now there's a bunch of jack-offs that think that somehow Bearing is responsible. No, this is what Bearing did. He clicked on his fucking naked lady giver. He clicked on his fucking program that makes his little cartoon bear pop up. He made a fucking video. He put the video on YouTube. That's it. Whatever anyone else... I mean, what the fuck do you want him to do? Go, bad fan base. Bad fan base. How is Bearing supposed to control the actions of another human being that he doesn't know? How is Bearing directing an attack on a woman in Canada from Australia, even though he didn't do it? He didn't say, go bother this woman, give her death threats. He just made a fucking video exposing her 180. Bearing isn't responsible for anything, nor is any other content creator that gets tagged with this shit. It's just Bearing seems to get the brunt of it for some reason. Undoomed isn't responsible. Sargon of Akkad isn't responsible. Thunderfoot isn't responsible. None of these motherfuckers are responsible for the supposed actions or mob mentality or what the fuck ever you jackasses come up with of their fans. They make a video, they put the motherfucker online, that's it. End of story. I mean, unless you can provide proof and evidence that Bearing was directly responsible for it, like either he sent the email or he made the phone call or he did the deed, shut up. And what would you like him to do to stop it? There's very little he can do to stop it. What, get on the end of the video and say, look, he puts a disclaimer to not go and troll these people. What more do you want from him? What, is Bearing our dad? What, do we all bow down and listen to the unerrant word of the Australian bear? This is part of a worrying trend where it's guilt by association. You made a video, so now you are responsible for anyone who views that video. You're responsible for their actions. No. Same way as Slayer wasn't responsible when a teenager who was listening to the music blew his brains out. Same as Ozzy, same as anyone. The makers of the Slender Man video game aren't responsible for those two nutball girls that killed another girl because they wanted to summon him. You know, I'm sorry, but content creators, artists, what the fuck ever, that's what they create. They create content. That is where their involvement ends. Whatever anyone does with said content, that's on them. The only exception I might give is if a content creator is calling a direct call to violence against another human being. Or he's making a video saying, go bully this person. Which, by the way, a jack-off on your side actually did to me. He actually said that verbatim in Twitter. So, again, even if I believe everything Bumblebee said was true, and again, but I'm just going to assume that she was telling the truth. Even if everything she said is true, even if everything she says is true, Bering's still not responsible. You can't. That's like saying that and they've done this for years. Some sick fuck goes in and shoots up a KinderCare. Somehow that's the gun manufacturer's fault. No, all they did was make a gun. What somebody did with that gun is out of their hands. You know, somebody goes and starts a ritualistic satanic cult where they stab 4-year-olds while praying to Beelzebub because they saw it in a movie. That's like saying the director should be on trial for murder as well. No, all he did was make a movie. All Bering did was make a fucking video on YouTube. End of goddamn story. That's the end. You know, Bering is no more responsible than anyone else in the world. The man responsible is the man who sent the email, gave the call, whatever. You know, sorry. Hate to be a dick about this, but, you know, again, what do you want content creators to do? We can't control other people. Unless Bering can somehow show that he has a mind control device and can control his audience's thoughts and actions, then yeah, what the fuck do you want him to do? All right, that wraps up this one.